Welcome, this is M-Dog. Today is January 8th, 2014. Happy 2014, everyone. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Humble Indie Bundle and see if there is anything worth your time, consideration, and what little bit of money it costs you to participate in the Humble Bundle process. So let's look. Like I said, today is January 8th. There's 13 days remaining, so somewhere around the 21st of January, this current Humble Indie Bundle 10 will no longer be available. So what's if you're not familiar with Humble Bundle, and I've done these videos before on Humble Bundle, but if you haven't seen them or if you're not familiar with this, this is basically a site that puts together a group of games that you can purchase together. Started off with indie games, smaller games, and actually there's been some Humble Bundles that have been AAA games as well at times, but this is back to an indie game offering. Pretty neat little selection of games you're getting. Now we're early in this process, so I should note that there could be 1 to 3 or so more games added to this deal, and if you pay the average or more, you'll also get those games unlocked to you as well once they're available. So how this works is you pay what you want, and you basically get the games that are on the left side of your screen here for whatever you pay. Now if you want the Steam codes, which I recommend just for ease of use if you have Steam anyway, then you have to pay at least $1, but hey, it's $1. So right now, if you pay $1, you're going to get To the Moon, Joe Danger 2, Papa and Yo, as well as Runner 2. Now if you pay more than the average, which is right now currently above $5.53, you will also get Rus and Surgeon Simulator 2013. You get soundtracks with each game that you qualify for in your purchase. As we said, more games are coming soon. The current charities that they're focused on is Electronic Frontier Foundation and Child's Play Charity. So as it describes here on the site, you pay what you want, you support charity, you can unlock it on Steam, and whenever it's available, it is cross-platform. You buy it once and you play it cross-platform. So what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about each of these games and just show you a little bit of game footage from me playing these games. And then we'll wrap it up and I'll share my overall thought on the Humble Indie Bundle 10. Now if you've been on my channel, M-Dog Gaming on YouTube, you see that not all, but some of my videos are really more of a first few moments video of different games. And that's basically what we're going to do here for each of these titles, but it's going to be even fewer moments than usual. Those first few moments videos often end up being around 20 minutes or so long, and we're certainly not going to show you 20 minutes of each of these games. We will just do a couple of minutes or so on each game, just so you can get an idea of what does gameplay look like, especially early on in the game, to see if it looks like something you may be interested in. So fair warning on all of these titles, some probably more than others, thinking about games like Rus. The gameplay that you'll see from me playing early in the game does not necessarily represent the complexity of the game if you continue to play it and unlock new abilities and such, but we can touch on a little bit of that as we go. But most of these are fairly straightforward titles, especially in the left-hand side. These first four we're going to look at, they're pretty much just jump in and go and you get what you get type games. So not a lot of layers of complication. There may be a little bit, but not a lot. So well, let's go ahead and look in. I think I'm going to do these in order, so we should be starting with To the Moon here. And after we kind of go through these, I'll talk you through the gameplay a little bit, but mostly just let you enjoy the sounds and sights of each of these games. And then we'll come back here and wrap it up, and I'll let you know what I think about these games that are available currently on Humble Bundle. Alright, well, we're going to be transitioning through these games a little abruptly, but the first one we're looking at here is called To the Moon. If you're not familiar with this was, I think Can Gao is the Canadian designer of this game, but it's basically a role-playing game. It's using the RPG Maker engine and was first available in 2012 on Steam at least. But it's been well received by critics. It's basically a point-and-click adventure. I mean, the general idea is that these two main characters that you're controlling work for a company that uses some sort of technology to allow for wish fulfillment, and basically they can go in and, I guess, manipulate someone's memories so that the wish that they have, you know, suddenly, at least to them, feels like was in fact true. But to do this, they have to, I guess, uncover their patient's past and really understand their past. So I mean, it's sort of what the plot is based around. And I didn't want to show much of this game, you know, other than just to let you see what it looks like, so that we don't give away any major story plot moments. But you see the two doctors who are offering this service. This is after they first arrived at their house. They've met a couple of characters, and then are now sort of stepping into the area where the quote-unquote patient, who is basically on his deathbed, and at this point they start to interact with him. But this is an interesting game. I mean, either you like point-and-click adventures or you don't, you know, and if you do, you don't mind sort of the mechanics of how you are basically going through the narration, the story, and in this case, it seems to be really well handled. Now, this isn't necessarily the genre that I enjoy that much. In fact, you almost have to get to games like Telltale's Walking Dead, those types of games, for me to kind of get into this type of, anywhere close to this type of genre. But to be honest, that's probably because I haven't taken the time to really, you know, back when Monkey Island, I mean, when all of the classic point-and-click adventure games were coming out, those just weren't the games I was playing. So I don't have that nostalgia. But if you do, or if you enjoy this type of game and sort of seeing the story unfold before you as you just basically discover different aspects of the story through you moving around characters and clicking on things and putting pieces together, if that's your cup of tea, then this seems to be a really good game in terms of the critical response to the game, and just, you know, seeing what the plot is about, the overall story. There's definitely some interesting things going on there. So again, that is To the Moon, and I'll let you see the last couple scenes here before we transition to what's next that we're looking at is Joe Danger 2. So, Joe Danger 2. This is like basically a platform game. I mean, there's some racing elements to it. Hello Games is the British developer of this Joe Danger 2, the movie. And, you know, I think it has been out for a couple years now, but it's on different platforms. And a lot of these games, in fact, that we're featuring today have been on different platforms, at least until you get to the above average price games. The last couple are not, but this is sort of the story, if you will, is that you're working for a director and a stunt driver, and you just have to meet these different criteria on the different levels, and each level, or each movie, has several different levels. And so if you complete all the levels, at the end it will then show you sort of a highlight reel of all of the progress you made towards that quote-unquote movie you're making. So that's kind of one cool feature. I mean, the gameplay is pretty straightforward. There's some jumping and ducking. You know, there's a few things, and as you get further into it, it has a little bit more complexity to it, and the difficulty certainly increases a little bit. But it's just a fun little game, and like I said, one of the interesting elements, and I think it's coming up here in a minute, we'll see it, is after you've completed each level of that movie, you can go back. And yeah, here it is. This is where you go back and it'll show you the highlight reel of the movie. So this is like, these are all the stunts that they used for this movie or whatever. So kind of an interesting idea, fun little racing platformer. And that is Joe Danger 2, the movie. And I will let you watch the end of this as we prepare next to talk about Papa and Yo.
Go, 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 go! Go! Get him! Did you see that? Did you see it?
Alright, Papa and Yo, or Father and Me, or Father and I, something like that. This game is about a young Brazilian boy, and this has some heavy overtones to it. As you see, even the dedication there at the beginning implies some of the places where this is going. But basically, this is about a little Brazilian boy who is hiding from his alcoholic and abusive father. And so he goes to this dream state and interacts with different characters, and as well as a monster. Again, we're just going to look at some of the opening sequences so you get an idea what the gameplay is like here after this intro finishes. I mean, it's certainly an interesting game, and just based on the fact that the developer apparently is using, you know, his real life experiences to sort of fuel the artistic drive for making this game. And this certainly has some really beautiful moments, both in gameplay and setting, and just how it's all brought together. And this is what, you know, in terms of running and interacting with the world, you're early on here often chasing this girl, and she's sort of, by making you chase her, is going to start showing you how the mechanics of the game work. And here's sort of the first big reveal where you realize, okay, so I'm going to be able to do things that's going to manipulate the physics and structure of this world. Kind of a neat little thing here is they use these boxes that you put on top of your head to, just a neat touch. It's kind of a way to for the tutorial to have the combination of gameplay and text for you to read about what's going on as it teaches you how to play. Lots of character to this game, lots of little neat moments, even early on, as you know, the parts that we're highlighting. I thought there was just some really cool moments as you go. But yeah, I mean, it's a puzzle, right? I mean, it's just a puzzle game, and a lot of it is just completing these puzzles to move to the next area of the game. And if you like that kind of thing, this is a neat one. I mean, this is, again, the sort of the beauty of this game. Certainly complements the puzzle-driven nature of the gameplay. And a lot of the moments in this game will be just, you know, you figuring out, okay, how do I get from one area to the next? And the complexity will increase as you move, but it's not a punishing game. I mean, it's usually things that you can figure out, and if you do something incorrectly one time, it's not difficult to sort of retrace your steps and finish it. There's pretty good checkpoints, at least in the parts that I've played. You don't have to wait too long to get to the checkpoints. I thought this was a really cool scene. Again, as it's showing you how you interact with the sort of the white, chalky, glowy parts of the world, and sometimes it does something there, sometimes it does something somewhere else, like pulling out this rope or cord out of the wall here, and if you pull on that, it really, you know, reveals this really interesting staircase. So a lot of the game also has to do with the puzzles have to do with stacking buildings, and again, the boxes, you know, coming back to the boxes, as you'll see the boy picking up a box, and that is moving an actual building. And so figuring out ways to place or even stack these buildings so that you can get through the level or get to the next area. So it's just a layer of magic on top of this world. You know, the world looks like a, you know, somewhat of a poverty-stricken world, but it has a lot of character in it, and it's just cool how you navigate through these slums, basically, using elements of magic. Rooftop to rooftop. So it really is, it's just one beautiful set piece after another, and that's sort of the, as we finish looking at this game, sort of the thing that I was left with on Papa and Yo was just how neat the art direction and overall package was for this game. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about Runner 2. That's what we have quickly jumped into. Another pretty straightforward, casual game here. It's a side-scrolling platformer. This is the sequel to Bit Trip Runner, and this is again available in multiple ways of playing this, even iOS. But interestingly enough, you know, it's certainly similar to its predecessor, but there's some, especially graphically, a lot more fidelity in this one. And the level we're watching here, me play through, is basically one of the earlier, well, it's I don't know, it's towards the end of the first world, and there's 5 different worlds. Each one has its own theme in terms of graphical style, and this one is basically teaching you about sliding. So you'll see, excuse me, you'll see me having to slide a lot on this level, and so this is a fun game, and it does a good job of introducing you to gameplay mechanics pretty early in the game and requiring you to use them quite a bit, and then later bringing it all together. Obviously you cannot, you know, move the character. It's one of those where you're always moving forward, but you can jump and glide and slide. I mean, there's lots of ways to manipulate the way that you move through the world. And hitting that red check mark there signifies that you've hit the halfway point. So again, checkpoints in this are nice because it really is, the platformer does require a certain amount of precision. You'll see that jump there. I mean, you know, it's just a millisecond off is the difference in making the jump and being sent back to the last checkpoint. As you see, it happened to me over and over again. And I did play this with my young son and even younger daughter, and they both enjoyed it, although quickly, you know, past the first couple of introductory levels, it did get a little bit difficult, especially for the youngest one, because of the amount of precision that it requires. I mean, they're used to more of Mario, where there's a little more room for forgiveness in the jumping and such. So but this is a fun nice little game to have in your library. It's you know, something that you know, if you're playing a big multiplayer game with other folks, you're waiting on somebody to come on into your TeamSpeak channel or whatever, this is sort of a good time waster. Just sort of progressing through this game a little bit at a time. And I thought the graphics were good, you know, neat choices on the graphic style, and rewards the completionist inside of you. Alright, so now let's move on and talk about Rus. I think I'm saying that right. And this is basically, as we're still looking at the end of Runner 2 here, is it's when you complete a level and then you can move. 'Cause again, it has a lot of similarity to a lot of platformers out there in terms of the way it's structured. And there you kind of see the 5 different worlds as you unlock them. Alright, Rus. This is a god game where you're basically taking control of different aspects of nature. And as you progress in the game, you are introduced to more and more of them, and you unlock more and more abilities. And so what you're going to do is you take this, you know, it's a 2D sort of visual here, but you can spin all the way around this planet, and you can send your gods or whatever they are to different parts of the planet, and they all have their abilities that impact the planet in different ways. You can zoom in and out. You know, it's pretty neat the way everything works together. And then you use your abilities on the planet, and as the abilities sort of synchronize together, that's going to have big impacts on what's going on. And so you'll have villages spring up, and the people that live there, and they're going to start different missions that you can help them complete, which then unlocks new things, and then you can, you know, you get rewarded from progressing as well by unlocking new abilities. This is the creation of a mountain, which also impacts the amount of desert is around it. But this is the water. As you see, you did it on top of the desert, so the water coming into the desert turned the desert into forest. So there's a lot of sort of, again, synchronizing together the different abilities and create some swampland there. This is an interesting game. I haven't gotten a lot into it, as we're actually almost out of time to talk about it. I'm still not sold on this one, and now we're going to translate to Surgeon Simulator 2013, but I'm just not sold on Rus. I haven't seen enough. I need to give it some more time, for sure, but so far I've just felt like it's a little limited. All right, so this is a little graphic in nature, if you can't already tell, so let me warn you with that. Surgeon Simulator 2013. Is this really a game? Well, I guess it is a game. I don't know. I actually enjoyed some of the lower tiered games on this Humble Bundle more than the two pay above average games. And this is fun for a little while. You know, this feels, in many, I've read and heard this from different sources, this feels almost more like a joke than a game. But basically, you're a one-handed doctor here doing these different operations. This is the heart transplant operation, I believe. And you have all these tools, and so, I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but the problem is controlling your one hand is extremely difficult, and adds to the humor in the game in some ways. As you see, I bring my arm down on the coffee mug, and my watch pops off. So pick up a drill here. Now you're going to try to start breaking up the ribs, and you know, there's lots of different tools and lots of things you can do to really mess things up, and the whole time your patient's, you know, blood pressures or blood levels going down, and so I don't know, it's got a really dark sense of humor, and hopefully you'll know if this is for you or not. For me, it's just kind of almost too over the top, and just I enjoyed it for a few minutes, just trying to figure out the best way to manipulate, you know, the controls that you are given. Take off that rib cage, and basically you just, you know, start pulling out organs and doing things to get down to the heart. And certainly nothing realistic about this game, obviously. In fact, all you have to do to win this, you know, this surgery at least, is just get the heart that's sitting next on the other side there, that's on ice or whatever, and just drop it in there. You don't replace anything. Not that you could at this point with the destruction that you've done in this poor guy's chest, but so yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There are different surgeries. There's different sort of, I guess, things that happen around you. Oh, there's you know, pumping drugs in yourself because you can't grab the syringe right. That makes everything a little more difficult. But so, you know, it's an interesting game. But I don't know. I think some of the tier 1 games, that even if you pay below the average, are a little more interesting to me than the two that are above average, at least at this point. But anyway, thanks for watching. Let's get back to the end it up here. Well, I hope you enjoyed taking a quick look at each of these 6 games that are available. Just a reminder, if you pay more than the average, which is currently $5.53, you will be eligible for more games coming soon. We don't know what those are yet. If they're really notable, once they come out, maybe I can update this video and let you know that. But overall, I think this is a good bundle. It's hard to not recommend these bundles, especially for someone that, you know, likes to play different games, shorter games at times, It's such good value. And it's going towards charity. So, you know, if you've got however much you feel comfortable with paying, you can donate a little bit towards the developer, a little bit towards the site, and then some towards charity. And you do is kind of make those percentages be whatever you want. In this case, looking at other humble bundles that I've participated in, this one probably doesn't get me quite as excited as some of the other ones have. But if you're like me and you get stuck playing a lot of really complex games that just take a lot of time and energy, having a few of these types of games for you to just sort of take a break from all of the complexity can be nice. Something like Runner 2, that if you saw the video I posted recently of me just playing that game, I was playing with my two kids, you know. And so even for, you know, younger kids to be able to jump in and play that, but even for me is fun. It's just very mindless fun and fairly simple. So it's nice to have games like this in your library, if you're a Steam user, in your Steam library, or just in your game library in general. So while I certainly recommend this bundle, and there really haven't been many Humble bundles over the years that they've been doing this that you could really say, no, stay away from this. I mean, I'd have to look back, but I don't think there's been many, just because the value proposition is so amazing. If you're short on cash right now, but you want to have some games to play, to just spend some time playing some new games that you haven't played before, you know, you can just put $1 down, get 4 games, activate them on your Steam account if you use Steam, and then, you know what, you're not going to get better value than that. So again, it's hard not to recommend these. I'm not going to be trumpeting this, you know, Indie Bundle 10 maybe quite as loudly as I have others, but I do recommend you check it out. And if you liked the look of the games that we highlighted here, then it's a no-brainer. If you're not sure about them, you know, there's always going to be the next Humble Bundle, and so maybe you want to take a pass on this one. But as always, I appreciate you watching. This is M-Dog, and I'm going to go ahead and sign out, and go ahead and follow the channel. I'm trying to bring you good content every day, and I appreciate all the support, and till next time.